Hello to all Barcelona fans. Here's Chike, a passionate supporter like you, ready to share the latest news about our beloved club. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment at the end to let us know what you think. Let's dive into our first piece of news. FC Barcelona continues to show that it is not content to rest on its laurels. The Catalan club is determined to reclaim its place at the top of European football. In this process of rebuilding, skillfully led by Joan Laporta in recent years, bold and strategic decisions are being made. After finalizing an impactful loan deal with Marcus Rashford, who has already begun to win the affection of the fans with his commitment and talent, the technical team led by Hansi Flick has already presented its next request. A quality right-back who fits perfectly into the idea of vertical, offensive, and dominant football that the German coach wants to establish. The name that has resonated the most and is currently the club's main target is that of the Dutch international, Denzel Dumfries. This is not just a market option or a last-minute whim. Hansi Flick has been categorical in expressing his interest in Dumfries, considering him the exact profile the team needs to strengthen an area that has raised many doubts in recent years. Dumfries is a player who generates enthusiasm for multiple reasons. His physical ability is remarkable. Power, endurance, positive aggression in one-on-one situations, and speed in both defense and attack. But in addition to his athletic qualities, the Dutchman possesses tactical awareness, experience in big matches, and an offensive instinct that recalls the great fullbacks who have marked the history of modern football. In Italy, he has performed at a very high level with Inter Milan, being fundamental in many of their recent exploits in Serie A and the Champions League. Flick has not hesitated to approve this move, and there is also a consensus in the Barcelona dressing room. The team needs reinforcement like Dumfries. In the corridors of the dressing room, there is a mix of enthusiasm and ambition, aware that his arrival would not only improve the defense but also free up Jules Koundé to play in his ideal position, thus strengthening the defensive axis. However, as is often the case with top-level players, the transfer will not be simple. Inter Milan has no intention of letting one of its pillars go. In fact, they have already hinted that any negotiation should start from a minimum of 40 million euros. Under normal circumstances, this might seem like an insurmountable wall, but at Barcelona, there is confidence in the negotiation skills of the sports management, and they are not ruling out exploring creative formulas to bring the positions closer together. Loans with an option to buy, deferred payments, inclusion of players in the operation. Everything is on the table. Joan Laporta and Deco are already working in the offices, determined not to let such a valuable opportunity slip away. Because this is not just about a transfer to fill a void. It is about continuing to build a solid, coherent, and competitive project, capable of bringing smiles back to the fans and making the great European rivals tremble. Dumfries, with his profile, age, and experience, fits perfectly into this project. He is a hungry player with a winning mentality and the physicality needed to perform in a calendar packed with high-level matches. Additionally, we cannot ignore another detail that plays in Barcelona's favor. Dumfries himself would be thrilled to join Camp Nou. Sources close to the player's entourage have hinted that the possibility of wearing the Blaugrana jersey greatly appeals to him, not only for the prestige of the club, but also for the style of play and the opportunity to be part of a project led by a coach like Hansi Flick. The German coach has already shown that he knows how to get the best out of fullbacks with a physical and offensive profile. And Dumfries could be a key piece in this scheme. While rivals watch with suspicion and in silence, knowing that a player of this caliber at Barcelona would further strengthen the team, the fans are starting to get excited on social media. The name of Dumfries has begun to go viral, accompanied by montages with the Blaugrana jersey and messages of enthusiasm. The fans, who have repeatedly demonstrated their unwavering faith, are once again dreaming of a formidable team capable of competing with anyone. The history of Barcelona has always been marked by great fullbacks, from the times when Sergi gave his all on the flank, to more modern figures like Dani Alves, who left his mark with his talent and charisma. Dumfries is not coming to be a copy of anyone. He is coming to write his own story. And he would do so in an ideal context, with a technical staff that believes in him, a club that desires him, and fans who are eager to celebrate titles with pride. But beyond the name, what this interest reveals is a clear intention from Barcelona. Not to settle for less, not to rest on its laurels, not to live in the past. With Flick at the helm and Laporta supporting every step with decision and courage, the club is sending clear signals that it is serious. It is not about recruiting for the sake of recruiting, but about building a balanced, solid, ambitious team, a team that plays well, competes better, and gives back to the fans everything they have given during these years of transition. And if there is one thing that characterizes Barcelona fans, it is their memory. They know how to recognize mistakes but also celebrate successes. And bringing in Dumfries would undoubtedly be a great success, because it is not just about filling a void or adding another name to the squad. It is about strengthening an idea, supporting a vision of the game, and adding character and quality to a squad that, with the right reinforcements, is destined to return to the top. For all these reasons, this move should not be understood as a simple market gesture, but as a symbol that Barcelona is still very much alive, very aware of its needs, and very capable of competing on the international stage. Rivals can continue to spend millions without counting, recruiting names without identity or history in the club. In contrast, at Barcelona, every step is measured with strategy, with criteria, and with the conviction that the badge carries weight, that the jersey commands respect, and that the game must once again become poetry. And if Denzel Dumfries ends up landing at Camp Nou, he will be welcomed for what he is, a quality reinforcement, a symbol of ambition, and a fundamental piece in the new Barcelona that Hansi Flick is building. Because when Barcelona moves, the football world trembles, and this time, the shockwave could be felt from Milan to the heart of Catalonia. Let's move on to another important decision for our club. Barcelona's interest in Vitor Roque has emerged strongly in the offices of the Catalan city, and for good reason. He is one of the most promising defensive gems in Brazilian football, a centre-back with great potential that several major European clubs have already noticed. However, despite Girona FC's attempts to take the lead in the race for the young defender, it has been made clear from the Barcelona camp that they are not willing to let an opportunity of this caliber slip away. Vitor Roque is a vision for the future, and at Barcelona, they know very well what it means to bet on young talents, especially when it comes to a profile that fits the club's new sporting philosophy. The defender, born in 2006, was recently acquired by Manchester City for around €35 million from Palmeiras. This is not a minor sum, especially given his young age, but in this case, the investment is justified by his immense talent, maturity on the field, and an ability to lead from the defense that is reminiscent of the great names of the past. For many in Brazil, Vitor Roque represents the new generation of technical, aggressive, and composed centre-backs, a rare and highly prized combination in modern football. From the Catalan club, the technical secretariat has closely followed his progress. Barcelona's scouting department has been preparing detailed reports on the Brazilian for months, and after his transfer to Manchester City, informal contacts have been activated with the player's entourage to explore the possibility of bringing him in on loan or even as part of a long-term agreement. The operation, although complex, has the full support of coach Hansi Flick, who has given the green light to the arrival of a centre-back with Vitor Roque's characteristics. The German coach, who is well versed in international football, believes that the youngster would fit perfectly into his game plan, which requires clean build-up play from the back, solidity in individual duels, and a winning mentality. This is not the first time Barcelona has outmaneuvered the City football group. In the past, it has already demonstrated its ability to attract young talents with the training project offered by La Masia and Camp Nou as unique scenarios for global projection. Vitor Roque, in this sense, would look favorably on joining the Blaugrana club, where he could share the locker room with emerging figures like Pau Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal, or Fermin Lopez. The youth of the team, combined with the ambition of the new coaching staff, represents an ideal environment for his growth. Meanwhile, from Girona, the interest and negotiations with Manchester City remain open. The Girona club, which has close ties with the English team thanks to the City football group, has attempted to steer the Brazilian's loan for the next season. Coach Michel has also approved the transfer, and it was expected that the deal would be closed in a matter of days. However, Barcelona's emergence could completely change the course of the operation with the allure of wearing the Blaugrana jersey and the history that supports the club as a factory of great defenders. The option of signing for Barcelona is starting to weigh heavily in the balance. In this context, Joan Laporta has made his move. The Barcelona president is aware of the importance of securing strategic signings that allow the project to be consolidated without compromising the club's finances. The arrival of Vitor Roque in the form of a loan with an option to buy or even a long-term agreement with City's participation in future sales presents itself as an unparalleled opportunity for both parties. Additionally, the fact that the player is still in the training phase could facilitate his gradual adaptation, first by integrating with the youth team or the affiliate and then making the leap to the first team if he proves to be ready. From the sports management led by Deco, the enthusiasm is evident. The former Brazilian-Portuguese player maintains a close relationship with agents and clubs in Brazil and has been a key figure in evaluating Vitor Roque's profile. According to sources close to the club, Deco has repeatedly expressed his admiration for the centre-back's qualities and his firm belief that he has what it takes to succeed in Europe. His voice has been decisive in convincing the rest of the Barcelona management that this is an operation that must be carried out with determination. For the Barcelona fans, the possibility of seeing a new South American talent at Camp Nou always generates excitement. The memory of Brazilian centre-backs who have marked the club's history, such as Belletti, Marlon Santos, or even the fleeting passage of Enrique, has left a particular mark in the memory of the fans, albeit with ups and downs. In the case of Vitor Roque, what excites the most is his youth combined with his leadership ability and competitive character. Moreover, the bet on young talents is part of the new direction taken by Barcelona in recent seasons. Economic limitations have forced the club to redirect its transfer policy, seeking high-potential players before their market value skyrockets. Vitor Roque represents this type of player, an investment with room for growth, international projection, and a profile that can perfectly adapt to the philosophy of possession, high pressing, and clean build-up play from the defense. As for the real possibilities for Barcelona to outmaneuver Girona, it will all depend on Manchester City's final position. The English club, which usually rigorously plans the development of its young promises, could look favorably on a loan to the Blaugrana club if there is a firm commitment to offer playing time and a high-level competitive environment. In this sense, the intervention of Hansi Flick and his team could be key to guaranteeing the player a well-defined sports plan. Something that, in Girona, despite its great recent season, is not always guaranteed for a 17-year-old debutant. The stage is set for a dispute between two Catalan clubs with different ambitions but with a common goal: to sign Vitor Roque. On one side, Girona wants to take advantage of its relationship with City to strengthen its defense with one of the most promising centre-backs on the market. On the other side, Barcelona, with a more ambitious project and an unparalleled history, wants to make the Brazilian a fundamental part of its new cycle. It will not be a simple operation. But one thing is clear: Barcelona will not stand idly by. When the club sees an opportunity that fits its project, it acts with conviction, and in this case, both Hansi Flick and the sports management agree. Vitor Roque has everything to succeed in the Blaugrana colours. Now, the ball is in City's court and in the hands of the player himself, who will have to decide between a loan that guarantees him immediate playing time or betting on the long term with a club that bets on youth as the cornerstone of its future project. Finally, let's talk about a potential masterstroke for Barcelona. The excitement is back in the hearts of the Barcelona fans, and this time, it's not just a rumor, but a real and concrete opportunity that could signify a radical turning point in the structure of the team led by Hansi Flick. Rodri Hernandez, the midfielder who has become one of the pillars of modern football, is closer than ever to leaving Manchester City. And according to information from England, Barcelona could be the destination that most appeals to the player. This is not a coincidence, nor a simple market move. It is a strategy that Joan Laporta has been maturing for some time and which, now, with the complicity of Flick and the explicit desire of the player, is beginning to take shape with a seriousness that even worries giants like Paris Saint-Germain or Al Nassr. Pep Guardiola, mentor and protector of the Madrid midfielder, has already thrown in the towel. This has been confirmed by media close to the Catalan coach, who see Rodri as a player emotionally disconnected from City's project. His desire to return to Spain is not new, but it is now stronger than ever. The reasons may be multiple: the wear and tear of so many years in the Premier League, the constant demand, the pressure to remain the best pivot in the world, and, above all, the need to find the warmth of Spanish football, the land, the language, and the environment that saw him born as a professional. Barcelona, with its history, its style of play, and the constant challenge of returning to the top of world football, represents a project that deeply appeals to Rodri, and it is no coincidence. Hansi Flick has given the thumbs up from the very beginning. The German coach, obsessed with game control, rational space occupation, and intelligent ball circulation, sees Rodri as the perfect axis to give coherence and stability to his idea. It is no secret that Barcelona needs to reinforce the midfield position urgently, not only for a matter of rotation or squad depth, but because the profile of the Madrid player fits with surgical precision into the backbone that Flick wants to build. Rodri is intelligence, positioning, tactical aggression, and technical ability in its purest form. Without a doubt, one of the few players who could take up the mantle of the great midfielders who have worn the Blaugrana jersey throughout history. Joan Laporta, true to his style, is already moving the pieces in silence, but with firmness. The president knows that this operation could represent a media and sporting coup. In the offices, there is a mix of prudence and enthusiasm, aware that it will not be a simple operation, but also knowing that they have a fundamental advantage over other competitors, the players' desire. Rodri wants to play for Barcelona, and in this type of negotiation, that weighs more than any figure or salary. He has already rejected the first renewal offers from City, even with a significant salary increase, and has clearly indicated that if he has the choice, he sees his future in the Blaugrana colors. This is where the time factor comes into play. Paris Saint-Germain, always on the lookout and with immense financial muscle, has shown interest in the player. And from Saudi Arabia, Al Nassr is also ready to do anything to secure his services. However, both clubs lack what Barcelona can offer: history, a sporting project, and, above all, an emotional connection with the player that cannot be bought. Rodri is not just looking for a big contract. He is looking to find a football culture that breathes passion, tactics, and belonging. And that, beyond money, Barcelona has. Some within the Barcelona camp see this operation as a priority. After consolidating the base of the team with young talents and ensuring the continuity of fundamental pillars, the recruitment of Rodri would be the logical step towards the maturity of the new project. And it is that, beyond his quality, Rodri would bring silent leadership, a winning mentality, and a knowledge of the game that could accelerate the growth of the rest of the group. His arrival would be a blessing for players like PEDRI, GAVI, FORÇA, or even LAMINE YAMAL, who need figures with international experience by their side to transmit serenity and professionalism in key moments. From the sports management, they are already evaluating the appropriate formula so that the recruitment does not represent an excessive financial burden. We are talking about an operation that could be around 60 or 70 million euros, a high but reasonable figure given the players' level. The possibility of including players in the negotiation or structuring the payment in installments is not ruled out, so that the economic impact does not compromise other areas of the club. Laporta, who has demonstrated his skill in complex negotiations, is convinced that if the player maintains his position, Barcelona will be able to close the deal. The fans, for their part, are already starting to get excited. On social media, the name of Rodri has begun to trend among the Barcelona fans. Some already imagine him with the Blaugrana jersey in the center of Camp Nou, setting the pace of the game with the same naturalness as he does with the Spanish national team. Others remember his past at Atletico de Madrid, his refined style, his maturity in decision-making, and his ability to appear in the most important moments. And although comparisons are always dangerous, many see in him a spiritual heir to Sergio Busquets, not so much for his way of playing, but for the silent hierarchy he imposes on the field. And you, what do you think, Barcelona fans? Do you think Rodri should be an absolute priority for Barcelona? Do you see this midfielder capable of supporting the team in the most demanding matches? Wouldn't this be a signing that, in addition to meeting a tactical need, would send a clear message to the world that Barcelona remains a coveted destination for the best in the world? What is clear is that time is pressing and the margin for maneuver is narrow. The transfer window is still open, but competitors will not wait forever. Flick wants him, Rodri does too, and Laporta has the will. The rest is a matter of execution, bold decisions, and a sports management that understands that this type of opportunity does not come every year. Because recruiting Rodri is not just about strengthening a position, it is about building a bridge between the present and the future. It is about regaining the midfield dominance that brought so much joy to Barcelona fans during its golden years. It is about providing the team with a brain that thinks at the speed demanded by modern football. It is, ultimately, about regaining faith. Rodri is there, waiting, and Barcelona, if it is true to its history and style, should not hesitate, because football is also a matter of audacity, and this time, it is worth taking the step. Thank you for joining us this far. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and leave us your comment.